Joining us now with instant reaction to the 2011 budget is someone who directed the Congressional Budget Office from 1995 to 1999 under President Bill Clinton. She is June O'Neill, professor of economics at Baruch College right here in New York. So glad you could join us. Thank you very much for coming on. President Obama is a president, of course, who campaigned on this promise to go through the budget line by line and cut out whatever wasn't necessary. Did he keep his promise?
I don't think so, but it's more than just a matter of going through the budget. You know, there are the overall statistics about the deficit, outlays, revenues, and so on that produce the deficit, and then the policies that underlie them, because you can't just cross things out. So I'm sure that by now they've seen, you know, what a difficult job it is.
Balancing all the different needs and demands from everyone.
Yeah.
The backdrop to this budget, of course, was Friday's GDP report, which came in much stronger than expected. Will this help or hinder the president's efforts to increase spending in areas to produce jobs?
It's very difficult to say what it means. That's only a quarter. The quarter is always revised. In addition to that, a lot of it seemed to be because of inventories. Now, that could be because inventories were being used up. Now, that could be because demand is percolating up and using up revenues. But it also suggests that it wasn't production that was produced that was contributing to it. So that remains to be seen.
Okay, now the critics are saying that cutting Obama's plan to freeze some programs is insignificant. You can get rid of the entire budgets for discretionary spending and not really make much of a dent in the budget deficit. Well, at some point, you need to look at some of the bigger projects like entitlement programs.
Yeah, the big long-run problem are the entitlement programs, but in particular, Medicare. This has been known for many, many years. It was apparent in the 90s, and there was then a Medicare commission that I thought came up with a good solution, but that one was not adopted. And you know, but that is the real problem of the entitlement. Social Security is more manageable. It's not that it's a snap, because there are more people retiring, and so, you know, there's a problem there. But
should the president have focused on those programs as opposed to remaking health care?
I think Medicare should have been on the front burner. It really needs to be attended to first. Now, there were sort of some nibbles at Medicare, but they weren't helpful. They're the kinds of, I mean, in my opinion, they're not the kinds of, it's not the way to reduce Medicare spending. You know, how much can you reduce physician pay and hospital reimbursements? You know, that's not a long-run solution.
Now, Obama's plan also calls for creating a special debt commission to recommend steps to cutting the deficit. What kind of steps could a commission like this possibly recommend that doesn't involve slashing entitlement spending like we were just talking about?
Well, it depends if they're looking at the long run or the short run. For the short run, you know, there are more limitations because of, you know, the horrendous fiscal problems that arose. You know, it's sort of easy to forget that the deficit in 2008 was not quite $500 billion. It's grown over the suddenly bad financial news came at the end of 2008, and you know, the problem was not really alleviated during 2009. There's so many things that factor into it, like expectations. You know, in order to generate a smaller deficit, you have to generate revenues which come from the economy as a whole.
Right.
And it's very difficult to know where to devise in advance. So it's a policy problem as well as just a deficit problem. But in terms of you know, the CBO budget gives you some information about what's possible. The CBO the other day released their projections. Those are based on if nothing happens. Current laws written on the books, and the deficit is smaller. It's not as large as these. It's $1 trillion for 2011.
All right, thank you so much. We've been speaking to June O'Neill of Baruch College.